Hi guys, hope everyone's well and welcome back to the Improvement Podcast. So today I'm going to be touching on should you burn more or eat less when it comes to fat loss. First of all, quick update on myself. So I'm currently weighing 178 pounds this morning and I'm 13 weeks out on Monday. So 2 days after this is released or one and a bit. And surprisingly feeling really good. Had a deload week the week prior and I think that done me a lot of good in terms of just making me feel better, a bit less smashed all the time, a bit less fatigued from training because it's been a good while since I had it. So I'm definitely experiencing the benefits of doing it basically. And I'm of course hungry, and you've got to just get used to it. To be honest, like I'm not trying to be full or obsessing over it, or I'm just trying to ignore it. To be honest, because it will be there, and with having 13 weeks to go, it's only gonna get worse. So no point trying to obsess over it or try and fix something that's not going to be able to be fixed. So, on to the topic of today's episode. So, when I mean should you burn more or eat less, I'm of course talking about fat loss. And burning more is just doing more expenditure, doing more to burn calories. And eating less is, of course, eating fewer calories. And the reason we want to do one of the two is because fat loss occurs when you're in a calorie deficit, when you're simply eating less calories than you're burning. So, for example, if I am burning on a daily basis, you don't even need to know the exact figures. I'm just giving you an example. Let's say on a daily basis, I am eating 3,000 or burning 3,000 calories. It means I've got to be eating less than or less than 3,000 calories to lose weight. For example, 2,800, maybe even lower. And that's what basically causes weight loss, and it can be created through activity or eating less. For example, if I did have to eat less than 3,000 calories to lose weight, instead of, let's say, having to eat 2,800, I could simply burn another 200 calories by doing steps, doing 20 minutes on the Stairmaster, something like that. And then as a result, it basically tips the scale so you're in a calorie deficit. So basically, when it comes down to it, which one you should do is whatever one you can stick to. For example, everyone is different, so I can't tell you this will be easier to stick to than that. It depends on a lot of factors. But some people might not mind eating less and they can get by without, and they've not got a massive appetite, and they're good with their diet, so they can be smart with how to fill them up with eating little calories. Others might have a really high appetite, regardless if they are dieting or not, and might struggle with it. And if, let's say, someone doesn't mind eating less but they hate cardio, then of course eating less might be a better approach for them. However, if, let's say, someone really enjoys cardio, it sets them up for their day, or they just enjoy doing it, and they are already hungry, then it makes sense for them to add in some cardio or to add in some steps. So yeah, it depends on what you can stick to. The enjoyment factor of both. Not that eating less is ever going to be enjoyable, or some circumstances it can be, but I think you get what I mean. Just whatever one works best for you in terms of what you can stick to and what you enjoy. And the reason why I'm saying it depends on the individual, I know it's an answer that is quite when you get an answer saying it depends, it's not very useful. So I'm going to explain my rationale behind it. So let's say someone's current occupation, so their job role includes doing 15,000 steps daily. Then they might not want to add in cardio because they're already doing a high level of activity. And if they're doing, let's say, they add in 20 minutes every day they train, then that might impact their performance, that might impact their recovery, and make their legs just feel really heavy when they go to train their lower body. As a result, performance might suffer, then your muscle retention may suffer as a result of that. On the other hand, if someone's sedentary in the office or in an office job and they don't do a lot of steps at all, then if someone goes from doing 2,000 steps to, let's say, 8,000, they're gonna be able to cope. They might feel like it's a bit of a shock to the system straight away, but I think they'll be fine in terms of performance, and it's not a crazy high amount of expenditure, so they can get by doing it without their performance being poorer in the gym. So that just shows you how your job role can affect it. And something else to consider is like how many hours does someone work? For example, if someone's working, let's say someone does have an office job, but they are also working very, very long shifts. Let's say they work 10-hour days, they've got a training session to do after it, they have a big commute to the gym, to home. They might not have a lot of spare time outside of training and also work. And if, let's say, it means, right, someone's doing an extra half an hour cardio or something, or half an hour of steps a day, and that's taken away from their sleep, then if they can stick to it, if they can do so consistently without cheating on their diet or going over their calories, cheating is not a good phrase to use, but yeah, if they can do so without going over the calories, I'd rather just drop their food, because we know sleep has a massive effect on our performance. And there's also stress as well. It's like if we are gonna be putting ourselves in a really stressed state because we've got so much to do and not enough time, then that's not gonna have a good effect on us mentally. So it would be ideal if that doesn't happen. So yeah, again, that's something else to consider. Which one is gonna have the biggest impact on us stress wise? Because if, let's say, yeah, like I said, if they can stick to it, I'd rather just drop their food. And something else to consider is, what are your current calories? Because if someone's already on very, very little food, let's say you're a male, you're on 1,500 calories. Don't ask me how you got there, why you got there. I'm not going to cover all that, but what I'm going to talk about is how how much can you actually drop from there. You're kind of pushed your calories super low. There's not much lower you can go that's sustainable. So that's probably not going to be an ideal place to be in. And as a result, you might want to consider adding steps and adding cardio if they aren't already high. And yeah, because when we are consuming less food, not only are we going to be struggling with hunger, we are consuming less micronutrients because, oh, of course, you can play about with your food choices to get micronutrient dense foods. You can have a multivitamin, you can have a greens powder, that sort of thing. But ignoring that, if you're eating less, you're usually eating less micronutrients. For example, let's say someone just take the carbs away, which is usually what people do. They keep their protein in and the veg or whatever. Then you're gonna get less micronutrients if you just take some food out, because you're eating less, so you've got less opportunity to get micronutrients in your diet. So that's something else to consider, because you wouldn't want to drop someone who's already on low calories even lower, if that is the case. But again, it depends what their steps are, if they can do them consistently. A lot of things come into play, that hence why it's not just a black and white answer. But in terms of a performance point of view, like I said, crazy expenditure isn't ideal. And the reason being is, if we're doing a ton of steps, that's gonna tire us out. That's gonna mean we aren't in a great position to perform in the gym. Of course, it depends what you're training, and everyone might respond different to doing a certain amount of steps or cardio. So that is something to consider. And like I said, even if you aren't doing steps, if you're standing at work for 8 hours, that's going to affect your performance. So if you're doing that and then doing 10,000 steps, that's going to be different for an office worker who's sitting down for 8 hours and then doing 10,000 steps. So yeah, that is also something to consider. So we don't want to be doing a crazy amount that can sacrifice our performance. And in terms of, like, an example, like, we don't want to be doing like an hour of cardio a day, because that's not going to do a lot of good for our leg training. And there's also something called the interference effect, because Oh, when we think about cardio, cardio's not promoting holding on to maximal amounts of muscle. When we're doing cardio, that's telling our body we don't want to hold on to that muscle, because when we're doing cardio, if you think about what the activity is, let's say running, do you think it's efficient for our body to carry excess muscle that it's not needing if it's doing cardio for an hour a day? No. It's basically going to tell our body, right, we've got all this muscle we're holding on to that is just weighing us down, making it harder to run and being an inconvenience. So your body's going to respond to that and think, right, we'll not hold on to this muscle. We'll get rid of this muscle. It's not going to happen as soon as you step on the Stairmaster, but if you are doing a ridiculous amount daily, your performance is dropping and you're doing a ton of cardio, then it can happen. For some people, a bit more than others. But yeah, just to conclude, what you want to choose is basically what you can stick to best. So what's going to be sustainable, because not a diet and needs to be sustainable, because nobody diets forever, or they shouldn't, or you shouldn't want to. But you want to focus on what's sustainable. So what can you consistently do and keep up, as well as that, what enjoyment basically ties into sustainability, but what impact does it have on your stress levels and your sleep? We don't want them to go in a poor spot, because we know that having better sleep will basically mean you'll retain more muscle during your dieting phase. Your metabolic rate will be higher, meaning you'll burn more calories during the day. So yeah, and you also want to focus on not just stress, sleep, or enjoyment, or what you can stick to, but also performance. The little what's going to have the least effect on performance, because we don't want to be having our sessions go very poorly, because again, leads to less muscle being retained, which leads to your metabolic rate going down, or the amount of calories you burn a day going down, because you don't have that muscle to burn the calories. So a lot of things come into play, but to conclude, choose what you can stick to, and then after that, choose what's going to yield the best result in terms of your dieting phase, and what just makes most sense during that time for yourself. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Bit of a shorter one than usual, but I feel like everything that I needed to cover has covered. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Please leave a rating and review if you can. Subscribe, like, share it on your story. It'd be greatly appreciated, and I hope everyone has a great day.